What's up, guys? Welcome to your second edition of the Daily Misfire's Tech Tip Tuesday. And today we're going to be talking about the differences between intakes and what they actually do for you. So here for my examples, I have a tunnel ram, there it is, a dual carb tunnel ram intake, and then I have a dual plane, just normal run-of-the-mill intake that we'll be discussing today. I'm going to set you down here in a second so we can get right into it. Okay, so when we're talking about intakes, the two biggest style differences between intakes and kind of like the ideas between the two of them and why they're so prevalent in what they do is the dual plane shorter intake style versus the dual carb high rise tunnel ram, whatever you prefer to call it. This style can also be the tunnel ram, or the single plane or the dual plane style. The only difference there is between this piece right in the middle. If it was a single plane, it would be just a big hole right here versus the two smaller holes. And that's so that with the dual plane, it gives you more balance between the two chambers, they like to call it, after the carburetor, and that'll give you more equal balance between the two. And that helps mileage. It helps keep torque and everything even on both sides of the engine, all that spark, all that stuff. But it also restricts airflow a little bit compared to the single plane. When you're running a single plane, it's just all going down all at once so that it spreads out the way it wants to. Excuse me. The single plane gives you more RPM than the dual plane does, so I think the dual planes are good from, depending on which one you get, off idle to 55 to 6,200 RPM, and then the single planes will get you anywhere from 800 to 1200 RPM to 6,000 to 6,500. But also they don't get as good of mileage, but they also help you with torque a little bit better because air can get through a lot harder, which is also why we go into this kind of style of intake. It's the same idea as a single plane, only it's kind of on steroids. So how the intake rotors on these are a lot shorter and they have a lot harder angles and stuff, so the air has to go through a lot harder of a way. A path has a lot more resistance through its path. The idea of the tunnel ram is to make it as easy as possible for the air to get into the engine's chambers, the cylinder head chambers, and just the combustion chamber is what I'm trying to say. But what it's doing is it has long, tall, and thick intake runners. And what they do is at high RPM, which is, anywhere from 4,000 to, 9,000 RPM. I mean, if you have an engine that wicks up that high, it'll help force air down a lot easier into the combustion chamber. And you make more power because air gets through a lot easier, and you can get a lot more air through. So these are a lot better of an intake for a race car style, or if you're wanting to run a nostalgia style intake, because these are definitely a nostalgia thing. Anything from the late 60s, mid 70s, you can see the 69 Camaro with a high-rise tunnel ram, dual plane, or whatever you want to call it, dual quad intake, all that stuff. You can see 55 Chevys with them, all that stuff. But they're a good high RPM, more race car oriented. These are more street car if you're wanting to run your car on the weekends, or go out in your street legal races and stuff like that, whether it's a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, whatever you guys have. This intake's just your good overall intake. This one will kill mileage. It'll kill mileage. Your small block will run like a big block, kind of. But after 4,500, you'll see probably about, I think it's probably about 10% difference between this one and this one. You'll definitely be able to tell the difference between these two. But it also depends on your cam and stuff like that. We won't even get into that right now. If your cam's a higher RPM cam, like a 292 or, different stuff like that, like comp 292 cam or something like that, for a small block Chevy, if it is able to run into the RPM band for this intake, this is a great intake for you. I was planning on running this on the car you see right here. We'll see what happens with that, but it'll be kind of cool if I did that, just so I had a dual carb, you know, on a 350 with headers and stuff. It will probably run a little bit better. I have a single plate on this right now because we're planning on road racing the car, and that would be a good intake for that. But getting back to it, this is a good overall street car intake. This is a good race car or nostalgia piece intake. It just depends on what you're trying to do. There's no wrong answer, there's no right answer, it's all what you're wanting to do. But hopefully this kind of helps you get a better understanding of what they actually do, and what the differences are between the two intakes and the different styles, and just the reasoning behind why you would run this versus this, or why you would run, you know, this versus that. That's kind of all I have for you guys this week. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check in next week on Tuesday, and we'll be talking about, I don't know what we'll be talking about, but we'll be talking about something just as interesting as this. Until then, check back in on Instagram and Facebook, and see you guys next time. Thank you.